The following program is recommended for mature individuals and may contain material unsuitable for morons, cretins, and dishwipes. If you are a moron or a member of the PTL Club, please turn off your radio, because we don't need any more stupid, narrow-minded, pencil-neck geeks who wouldn't know the First Amendment if it came up and bit them on the butt. Thank you.
Okie dokie, roll 'em!
Nothing to rearrange. Sometimes you just get a feeling like you need some kind of change.
Hey, welcome to the starting block for another week. Big show as always. What do we got? We got Mute Word of the Week. We got Story Times. We got Forgotten Fruit of the Week. It's back, baby. Showhead Statman, Hot Stove Hero, all that and much, much more here on the block.
Standing tall on the wings of my dream. Rise and fall on the wings of my dream. Rain and thunder, the wind and haze, I'm bound for better days. My life, my dream, nothing's gonna stop me now.
It's Greeno here from the starting block. On behalf of the block, we just wanted to let you all know that we're all in this together. Well, except if you have coronavirus, then stay the fuck away. But in every other situation, we're in it together. To all of you on the front lines, those of you turning a footstool, a wok, and a pitchfork into a home gym, those of you who have given your housemates a mental breakdown because you decided lockdown was a great time to learn the keyboard and the only thing you can play after 8 weeks is chopsticks over and over and over again. And those of you who are homeschooling and are now understanding the question you used to harass your maths teacher with of, when the fuck are we ever going to need to know this in the real world, is coming back to bite you on the ass. Just remember, like a 1990s Australian sitcom, we're all in this together. The days may be long, but in times like this, you can rest assured we will be here to waste an hour of your week, Friday nights Australian time, at dlive.tv/the starting block. So take care, social distance, whack on a mask, and subscribe to our show on iTunes. It may not cure coronavirus, but it sure will help us with our rankings. And isn't that really the most important thing right now?
Public Radio's LossisTAVShow.com's game. You're listening to The Starting Block.
Welcome to the starting block for another week. You got myself Greeno, and I'm joined by a man who's been trying to get into Twitter but can't because he keeps on clicking on the X button and closing the tab. My co-captain Damo, how are we, sir?
Very good, Greeno. Good evening to you, boys, girls, listenership, blockheads, millions around the world. Yeah, I didn't even notice that change until I think it was like this morning. I was taking a shit, and as you know, the best way to pass time whilst you're taking a shit is to, these days, technology, Greeno, get the phone out, open up a little bit of Twitter and see the shit on the internet. It often helps with the passing of your own shit if you can witness shit happening right in front of you. And so, I looked and I was like, oh, what's this X business? So I don't really know anything about it, but just in the top left-hand corner, because after that I jumped on the PC and I'm like, all right, what's going on? Jumped on the PC, top left-hand corner, there's an X now. So I guess it's Twitter X, or is it just X? Or
just X now. So Elon, actually, before we get to Elon, I think we need to discuss the intro to the show.
Yeah.
Because when we logged on, suddenly we had 10 viewers.
What?
And I'm like, wow, fucking we got 10.
That's
it's
not right.
unreal.
That doesn't
By
sound
the time the intro finished, down to 2.
Ah, right. So you reckon 10 viewers were like X, let's talk about X because of the name of the show. And then they were like, oh, yeah, no, this is no good.
This isn't about anything. Unless we'll go down to our regular 2 viewers. So it's back to your point. In the infinite wisdom of Elon, he's like, look, I know we've got a very recognizable brand here. We've got a very recognizable label. We've got a very recognizable emblem. Let's fucking do away with that.
Nice.
We don't need it. We're gonna get rid of the little bird. That's now gone. We're gonna get rid of the name.
It's still twitter.com though.
Because that's the website. They can't change that. But when you go look at your tab, it just says home-x.
X. So is it going to be x.com then at some point or?
Well, I don't know. I think that's going to take you to a different site. That's the problem.
X is a Tesla thing, isn't it? Like,
it is
some kind of association.
Well, because apparently Elon tried to name something else X, like some kind of social media platform previously, and he's told he's a fucking idiot. And he was like, nah, no one want to do that. It's stupid. So then he bought Twitter and changed it to X.
Isn't there a rapper named X?
Probably. There's a lot of things.
There was. What was the name of that guy who did that show, Pimp My Ride? Wasn't he X something? Something to do with X?
That was... Yeah, I know the guy you're talking about. I can't remember who it is exactly. No, he's not really an 80s TV star, so I'm not too sure.
No, he's a bit more modern than that, yeah.
That was the guy that was fucking Chelsea Handler, wasn't it?
Oh, was it?
Yeah, what's his
Pimp My
name?
Ride was a Exhibit, yeah. So he called...
Exhibit, that's the one.
Exhibit, and he called himself X for short, you see.
That's right, Exhibit. No, he's not the guy that's funny. It was, what's his name? 50 Cent. That was banging Chelsea Handler.
It's 50 Cent, Greeno. I think you'll find it's pronounced.
50 Cent. I could be pronouncing it wrong.
No, 50.
50.
Two
50.
D's.
It's like where Americans say herb without the H for some strange reason.
Herb.
It's 50.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like Elon.
Just like the English
Can you imagine Elon buying McDonald's?
The English say Harry without the H too. They say
Harry.
Harry.
Yeah.
There you go on, Harry. Yeah.
Completely disregarding letters of the alphabet.
Harry and herb. Yeah.
Yeah, herb.
Yeah.
Could you imagine Elon buying McDonald's and he's like, look, I think these golden arches are fucking overrated. Let's get rid of those. Yeah. Get rid of that. Let's fuck that off.
I'd love him to.
Put a big X up there.
Yeah.
That'll get the kiddos in.
Maybe one day we'll all be working for Elon Musk, one way or another.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
He will be the Taco Bell of the Demolition Man future that we're all striving for.
Could be.
Yeah. I'm happy to burn Twitter to the ground. Fuck it. Fuck Twitter.
It opens up the opportunities for Good.life.
Yeah,
to really take over the market.
Not that we need it. Like, obviously, we're going to take over regardless. Like, we want to be able to beat them, fair and square. But if they're going to self-implode, then so be it. Obviously, you're right. It just opens up that vacuum, and Good.life will stream in. Fuck your what are the other platforms that are out there these days, Greeno? There's I don't know, Spaces,
Threads. You got your TikToks, you've got your Instas, you got still got your Facebook.
They're all going down, man. They're all going down.
Slowly but surely.
Yeah, and I've been reliably informed. I got an update this week, Greeno. You'll be pleased to know, by the IT crew down at Good.life. Launch any day now.
Any day now. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's going to be so good. Yeah.
It's going to be a big day.
Don Camara's been waiting because he signed that advertising contract with us about 3 months ago, and he's like, so when do I get to advertise on Good.life? And I just keep saying, look, any day now, Don.
Any day now. Look, it's in the hands of the developers. It's almost outside our control at this particular point.
That's it. Yeah. Well, perfection takes time, Greeno, as you know.
It does. Good news, Damo, down to 0.
Oh, good.
Down to 0 viewers, which is what we like to see.
Thanks for joining us, guys. It's been a real pleasure having you.
In our defence, it's the middle of the night in Vietnam.
Yeah, that's true.
So our key demographic currently sleeping. They'll catch up on podcasts. That's okay.
Well, that's where we get our biggest hits, isn't it? On the podcast afterwards. Yeah, no one really cares about it live. No one's interested.
No, not since the good old days where we do Periscope a week late.
Yeah, people would tune in for the first 10 minutes of the show just to see if their comment was mentioned from the previous show. From
the last week's show, that's right. Yeah. Also around the time where we were doing power rankings of our own listeners that caused a bit of turmoil and listeners tuned out after that.
Yeah, there was a split in the block.
The thing's got a bit antsy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, man, it's almost got an edge there.
He's 6 off 59 now. That's
I love it. He's playing
weird.
anti-baseball.
Is that what we're doing here? It's just
We're
we're
doing
going
reverse
to bore
baseball.
them to death, or
Well, all we need to win this series is a draw. Like, why the fuck are we going to give away our wickets? Like, that's just because that's what cost us. Like, that's what cost us in the last test. I know we drew it, but it was the fact that we were throwing away wickets. Like, they're actually playing smart test cricket here.
Yeah, but you still got to score. 5
Nah,
off
no rush.
59.
Scoring's overrated.
Scoring's overrated. We're still 200 behind. So if he gets out in the next 10 deliveries for 5 after facing 10 overs worth of deliveries, then it's all for nothing.
Hey, 6, mate. 6.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't
Okay, he
know.
almost got caught.
Yeah. Exactly.
7. He's on a 7. Fun fact: Johnny Bairstow has given away like over almost 15% of the Aussie runs with buys. So well done, Johnny.
Yeah, and I know Nice Gary to give. Should we give the fat cunt a nice Gary?
Let's give him a little one.
And I also observed something through the week, like some kind of stat, and it was like the amount of wickets. Like basically, someone made the statistical argument. I wish I had saved it when I saw it, but unfortunately, I was taking a shit and I was looking at X, so I kind of scrolled past, and then I had 15 ads on instead, and I lost the tweet. Cheech and Chong's fucking jelly beans or whatever he's fucking flogging. I keep seeing over and over again.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I
Chong.
must have already blocked that one.
Tommy Chong's edibles keep coming up every second fucking day. Yeah, but someone made the statistical argument that basically England, they can moan all they want, but the literal reason they have lost the Ashes is because Johnny Bairstow's in the team.
No, 100%.
They put it down to like the wickets that he's given up.
Drops,
yeah,
runs conceded, and then comparative to Alex Carey.
Yeah,
and it was like
it's
effectively
that's the difference. Yeah.
He effectively had given away the Ashes. So
well done. Well done. I say keep picking him.
We love Johnny. Well, they did.
We love Johnny in the team. Yeah.
Keep picking him and keep picking 48-year-old spinners that keep on getting injured. Well done.
Yep. And it has to be curtains now for Jimmy Anderson, doesn't it? Clearly, like he's not had any kind of impact in this series whatsoever at all.
Not too sure. Oh, and here we go. Someone else is pointing it out. Woman of Wonder. What's up with Tommy Chong's edibles ad? It's constantly on my timeline.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
A couple of people complaining about the Tommy Chongs. I hadn't seen the Tommy Chong ad, so here we go. Meg Pillow. I swear to God, if I see one more ad on here for the Cheech and Chong gummies.
I don't know. I think Tommy spent a lot of time complaining about right-wingers on Twitter, and now he's obviously spending a fortune advertising on Twitter. I'm not sure.
Did you know Tommy Chong was on Dancing with the Stars?
Tommy's probably doing a whole bunch of things. Tommy is in that unfortunate situation where he's the less famous one of a duo. Like, he's not as funny or as famous as Cheech Marin,
Yeah.
So it's Cheech and Chong.
I think what happened with that, though, like, I think because he just stuck with that character regardless. Like, Cheech went on... Yeah. Cheech went on and did like some other acting gear and just got out of the stoner kind of comedy for a bit. Whereas Tommy Chong just stuck with that, and that's been his bit for 55 years.
One trick pony. That's it.
Yeah, that's his material. That's why Cheech had a better career, because at least he went and did stuff. He was in, what's that one with the Miami Vice guy?
Miami Vice guy?
He was in that show. What's his name? Don Johnson. What was his show?
Don Johnson?
The one that's not Miami Vice, the other one he was in. Nash Bridges, that's the one.
You must be struggling when you're asking me for trivia. Like,
I just got it. It's fine. Nash Bridges was the show I'm thinking of.
Okay.
He was in that.
He was also in From Dusk Till Dawn, where he did that very famous
Pussy,
which was my answering back when we had like actual answering machines.
Actual answering machines, that's voice files.
That was my answering machine message. It was the whole. It went for a minute and a half. It went for a minute and a half. Thing. We got all kinds of pussy here: dog pussy, horse pussy, chicken pussy. And then it would just end, and then there was a beep. Like, I didn't say anything on it or anything. It was just, it did the whole pussy thing from the
But it was a nightmare, because I would call you to like, hey man, we need band practice, 6 o'clock, I'll pick you up, whatever.
You'd have to sit through the whole
I'd have to sit through a minute and a half just to get, like, I don't know, pussy, all right, blah, blah, blah. Hey man, pick you up in 5.
Well, really, that was literally my thinking. Like, I will eradicate all pointless calls, all pointless messages with this thing.
No one's sticking around for that.
Only people who know me will stick to the end of it because they know what the fuck it is.
It's
Anyone else will
idea
be disgusted and hang up.
Deal with scammers as well. The amount of calls I get from overseas people trying to sell me shit.
Yep.
If I just put them straight to voicemail with pussy.
Well, all my calls go to voicemail because I don't have my phone. I don't have any notifications on my phone for anything. No calls, messages, nothing. I decide when I look at my phone, and then I decide if I call you back or whatever. So, and I've gone the other way now. Now I have a voicemail that doesn't leave anything. It's just a beep. So, and how I did that was, you know how they say record your message?
Yeah.
So when I recorded the message, I just recorded like 2 seconds of silence and then hung up.
Mm-hmm.
So if you call and normally it says, "Hi, this is BoogieBumper. Please leave a message after the beep." It's none of that.
Yeah.
You call, it stops ringing, and then it's silent for 2 seconds, and then it goes beep.
Yeah.
So 99% of the time they just hang up.
I scrap voicemail. Firstly, because it costs like $1 a month, so I'm like, fuck that, don't need it, get rid of it. Secondly, be a normal person. If you can't get to me, send me a message. I'll get back to you. Like, it's not that hard. If you don't have the time to send me a text after you called, it can't be that urgent.
Yeah, I figure if you want me bad enough, you'll get hold of me. There's
it's either a number I recognise and I've already got saved in my phone, and then I'll decide whether I call that person back. If it's a number I don't know, you better message me, because otherwise you're not getting a call back. It's that simple.
Yeah, that's it. Like, I used to hate. I still do kind of hate the mobile phone thing, but now I'm finding ways. I'm using the mobile phone system against itself to create my own little cocoon. Because back when we didn't have mobile phones, when it was just like the phone on the wall, you couldn't really stop anyone from calling without just turning off the ringer.
Mm-hmm. You just have to take it off the hook.
Yeah, in which case you wouldn't even really know if someone had really called you or not unless you had an answering machine. And I covered that base by having the dog pussy, horse pussy, chicken pussy message for a minute and a half. So, but these days, like, I can just leave my phone on silent, and people, scammers and people can call me all day long, all the live long day, Greeno. And then I can go back through and see what numbers called me, and I'm like, no, like, not interested. Yeah. Maybe it's different in the States. I know, we have some American listeners, but it is out of control in this, like, literally out of control in this country. You will get, I think everyone, at least 6, 10. Everyone gets at least 6 or 10 or somewhere around there phone calls a day from random fucking scammers. And it's just non-fucking stop. And so I just don't, I'm sure I'm not the only one. I think you're probably the same, Greeno. I just don't answer my phone to any number I don't recognize at all.
Well, I never answer my phone in general. Because my theory is, I've got 2 theories as well. One, there are the scammers because I don't know the number. Yep. And secondly, if anyone's calling me, no one ever calls you with good news, Damo. Have you ever noticed that? Every call is something bad has happened. So most people will send you a text, hey, something positive occurs. Yeah. Something bad happens, someone's dialing you. Yeah. So I've got a general anxiety. Whenever a phone rings, it's nothing positive because it's either a scammer or someone's dead.
My boss at work a while ago said to me something like, he goes, I don't know if you want to do this or not, but, helping out the customers, I've given out my mobile number. And I just laughed in his face. And he looked at me funny. He looked at me funny, and I'm like, yeah, no, that's not going to happen. And he's like, what do you mean? And he's like, you got to be on the ball and stuff. And I'm like, no, I am on the ball between 8 and 5. Yeah, that's when I'm on the ball. And after
exactly.
That,
and if you're giving out a mobile number, it better be a work mobile that you're paying.
And I said I want to make it very clear: I do not give permission to the company at any any person in the company or the company itself as an entity to ever give out my personal mobile number ever to anyone, regardless of the fucking situation. Ever, never, ever. like that's never going to happen. And I said, look, even if you do give out the number, if they call me, I'm not going to answer it. He's like, what do you mean? I said, because I don't answer random numbers, ever. Yeah. So, no, it's never going to happen. Like, no point. And for a while there, somehow someone got, I don't know who gave him my number. There was some guy, a customer, and he got hold of my work number. And after the first time, I looked at it. I'm like, I don't know who that is. And then I got an email like 2 minutes later and said, hey, I just tried to call you on your mobile. And I was like, okay, so that's who that is. Good. Yeah. Because now I've identified that it's a customer.
And now I've blocked that number.
Yes, exactly. Nice, Gary.
Yeah.
So he continually tried for like, let's say the next month, I reckon 10 times he tried to call me on my work number. And I would call him through the work phone system, the landline system on the landline number. And he said to me once, he said, yeah, how come you never answer your mobile? And I said, yeah, because it's my mobile. I don't know. I literally said to her, I don't know how you got that number, but I'll never answer it if you call me on it.
Delete that number.
Never. So you're wasting your time.
Yeah.
So, and he was like, "Oh, really? Is that how it is?" And I said, "Well, look, you wrote me an email and I called you 3 minutes later. So, yeah, that is how it is. But if you call me on my personal phone, I'll never answer it to you."
Not getting done.
He sat back for a second and he goes, "Fair enough."
Nice, Gary!
Fair enough. Because they respect it in the end. You know what I mean?
Oh, exactly.
Yeah, I'm not calling you on your fucking personal number, mate. So don't do it to me.
Yeah, why don't you give me a home phone? Give me a home phone and home address.
Yeah,
I'll pop on over.
I'll call you at fucking 7 o'clock at night. How do you like that?
Yeah.
You know? Oh, I guess you don't like that, do you? Yeah. Well, neither the fuck do I. So hopefully he deleted, because I haven't heard from him now since, like, I don't know, a couple of years or something now.
Oh, good.
Yeah, so he got the message, but you know, sometimes you got to be straight up with these fuckers, Greeno. You've just got to say, no.
Yeah, no point. Yeah, no point wasting time. Just fucking get to the point.
No,
I like it.
I've had messages from some people sometimes, and they'll say like, "Oh, you didn't reply to my message." And I was like, "Yeah, because I haven't looked at my phone for 3 days. What are you going to do about it?" Like, I'm replying now. I'm not being rude to you. I don't have notification. I'm not interested in looking at my phone all the time.
I have an understanding of your general phone vibe. Like, I'll send you something, and I'm like, he'll get back to me at some point.
But if it's from you, as soon as I see it, I'll get back to you. But I might see it 2 or 3 days from now.
But you'll see it 2 or 3 days later.
Yeah.
Like, I know. I just like, well, firstly, you're not going to look at your phone during work. Well, you might look at your phone during work hours, but I'm like, theoretically, if I send him a message at 8 a.m., he doesn't have to get back to me at earliest convenience till 5.
Yeah.
And then he's got other shit he's got to do. He's probably not picking up his phone. He's got other stuff, and that's all good.
Yeah.
But nothing's fucking urgent.
Yeah.
And it'd be fine.
I pretty much look at my phone. This is God's honest truth. I look at my phone, except when I'm taking a shit and looking at Twitter, and I will literally only go into Twitter and scroll through Twitter, and that's about it. So I'll look at my phone probably twice a day, and the twice that I look at it is at night at like say 10 or 11 o'clock at night when I'm going to bed and I'm putting on something to listen to, and then when I wake up in the morning to turn the alarm off, and that's it.
There you go.
That's it.
That's all you need.
You know, if I catch you at one of those times and you've written me a message or something, and then fair enough. But I don't have notifications on. So sometimes people write me messages and the messages bank up because I don't have the notification that pops up and says, "You have a message from such and such." I don't have that on. I have to actually physically go into my messages to see them.
Yeah.
You know, and I have all of my email notifications turned off. All of my inboxes are like running at 1,000. I stopped caring about all that stuff. I don't care. Like,
it's all scammers.
Someone's like, they could be sending you bills, and I'm like, well, I've still got the electricity running, so you know.
With that point, and this is why Lady Boogs is in charge of the bills.
The bills. Nice, Gary.
Nice, Gary!
That's it. You know what? I have a wife. If it's that important, you can go to her. She'll talk about that.
Yeah. Best to deal straight with the wife.
Yeah.
Damo, I want to give a bit of a muted word of the week if I can.
Yes, please. What are we muting? It's been at least a week since we muted something.
Easily 7 days.
At least.
we got to mute the word Barbie, unfortunately.
Barbie, yeah, I'm with you.
Now, it's a byproduct of two things. Unfortunately, it means people that are cooking up a sausage, your conversations, I can't see them anymore. Had to be done. Had to make that sacrifice. You want to get some processed meat up there, you want to get a couple of steaks, you want to get a souvlaki on there, can't see it anymore.
That's a risky mute, my friend, because there's so much good barbecue content on
there is, and it was worth it, unfortunately, after all the Barbie content I had to consume earlier this week.
It's not even worth it just for Margot Robbie, you don't think? Because she's pretty cute. You know?
Well, that's fine, but, you know, there's a plethora of free porn on the internet, mate. I don't need to look at Margot Robbie.
Does she not fall into the category of either sport, 80s movies, or tit? I mean, she falls
into the tit, but unfortunately the conversations around Barbie are not about the tit.
No,
so
isn't it about the patriarchy and all that kind of stuff?
The patriarchy.
Again, they had to turn this,
the wokeism
something into
whatnot.
a fucking culture war issue.
Yeah.
I saw it was the strangest shit, man. I saw conservatives putting out. It's like, if you're a conservative out there, just stop wasting your time with this stuff, okay? One, they're not listening to you, and two, you look like a fucking idiot when you come out and say things like, Barbie represents the worst of liberal democracy in the 20s. It's like, stop, it's Barbie. It doesn't matter. Nobody fucking cares.
It could be good, it could be bad. I don't care. Just go and enjoy it. Don't make a big thing about it. Yeah. Just have fun.
Kids, parents are, giving their kids fucking hormone blockers and you're worried about the patriarchy in Barbie. Get a fucking grip on yourself, mate. It's not a big fucking deal. Yeah, Piers Morgan was talking about fucking Ken in the Barbie movie. I'm like, oh, you're all sick. You're all sick in the head.
Remember, I muted Pierce 3 weeks ago.
I know you're missing out though, because Pierce.
I'm really not.
Oh, mate, you are. He is so far off the fucking tree at the moment because the whole Ashes situation, because they're losing. He has lost.
Sorry, man. Is Davey on the cans there?
Davey, he should be on the cans. It's game over for him, isn't it? Basically, he's not going to be batting again, I don't think.
He's already dropped 3 catches. Yeah. He's done what he's doing.
Nice, Gary.
Nice, Gary.
I reckon we retire Davey, because Davey tried to announce his own retirement game.
Because he didn't want to get dropped for these Ashes.
Exactly. I reckon we drop him on the way home on the fucking plane. You
know, we drop him for the second innings.
Yeah, for the second innings, okay.
Second innings, yeah. So, concussion because here's my theory, right?
You're going to retire hurt, Dave.
You can concussion protocol him, and they'll be like, but he didn't cop a blow. They're like, make him do the concussion test.
Yeah.
And even though he's never been struck in the head, I guarantee he's going to fail it.
Look, he's never been struck in the head, but there'd be plenty of people lining up, even in the own dressing room, to fucking give him a crack, you know. Let's see if I can. Well, you know, he's not concussed yet, but let's see. Let's give me a chance. I'll see if I can knock him out for you.
You know how bad Davey's been for the last few years. He for most of his career, he averaged 50. And admittedly, a lot of that was inflated because of, you know, just he bats really well in Australia, and, you know, everywhere else he's terrible. But he was good enough in Australia that he's averaged around 50. It's down to 42 now.
Yeah, and that happens sometimes. I remember,
it's a big jump.
Didn't Ricky lose like 10 points in the last fucking 3 or 4 years?
Yeah, but Ricky was averaging 60, so he still looks pretty good.
Yeah.
I think his average ended up dropping below 50 off the top of my head, but he just stuck around a bit too long.
Davey deserves a nice Gary because of his service to Australian cricket, but I'm not a Davey hater necessarily.
No, he's done.
I thought he was done. I thought he was done a couple of years ago, to be honest.
He was,
you know, and I wish he had have just focused on, say, one-day cricket in 2020 a couple of years ago, and he probably would have been a fucking world beater. And we could have blooded some other, you know, Uzi could have been in the team a couple of years ago when he was smashing.
Here's the thing. I think Davey would have retired if Will Pekowski had not kept on having concussion issues.
Well,
because I think Pekowski would have like nailed down that spot, and it would have been, well, you know, sorry, Dave, like, we've got a guy here who's averaging 60, and you're struggling to, you know, get through the first 4 overs.
But he's still not back, Pekowski, is he?
He only came back to like grade cricket late in the summer, so hopefully he's back next summer. But
he's like the Paddy McCartan? The Paddy McCartan of cricket. Like, do you know Paddy McCartan from?
No idea.
So he was a St Kilda player and a Swans player.
But that's not AFL. Hit the button.
No, we don't have it, but that's not AFL. We've only got.
Just hit the go button anyway.
Okay.
But that's no.
Is this the long version or the short version?
I think this might be the long version.
Aye, it's delicious, but that's no.
There's the goat of doom. Paddy McCartan was a player for St Kilda and most recently the Swans, Greeno. Mm-hmm. And he's been concussed like 5 or 6 times. And and the most recent time, like, he just barely grazed the ground and he was like out. He was knocked out and they had to carry him off basically. Yeah. And it becomes this awkward thing. Like, clearly the kid's got like so much fight that he keeps coming back. But obviously also his head is made out of paper mache, and like he takes like the tiniest little knock to the head and he just gets. It's just unfortunate, like, because he would be a great player if he didn't. Get knocked out so
anyone who the
easily.
History of concussions is like proved to be more susceptible to future ones.
Yeah, that's right. So every one brings him closer to the next one, but he keeps coming back. So he's basically sat out like the whole season this time, and now he plays for the Swans. Like, St Kilda had to let him go at some point because it's like, look, Paddy, we love you. Like, we love your spirit, but, mate, you just keep fucking getting knocked out all the time. We can't keep you on the books, mate. You know? Like, and the Swans picked him up, and then he had a really good season. He played in the grand final where they got smashed. And, and then, like, early in the season this year, he got knocked out again. And it's like, it was such an incidental thing. And then it becomes like, well, you want to look at because I feel bad even talking about it because I feel fucking
No, because you want to look out for the kid. You're like,
exactly.
you got to retire, mate. Like, I've seen a couple. Like, you see a couple of those sports stars. Where you're like, mate, you got to give it away. Like,
it's really sad. It's you don't deserve it.
In the NRL, like that dude just keeps on getting concussed. You're like, bro, he sat out like 6 months at one point, and he's like, you just got to give it away, mate. Like, I know it's your job, but like. You're going to be brain dead by the time you're 40 at this rate. Like, just stop.
Yeah, just stop.
Find a different career. You're not made for this one.
Yeah, you feel bad for them because clearly the fact that they keep getting, and then it also conflicts with my kind of more libertarian streak. It's that, well, if someone
survival of the fittest, go nuts.
Well, no, more so like, well, if someone's making the choice to go out there and put their body on the line, then so fucking be it. Respect that choice. And if they die doing it, like I'm an advocate of sports stars signing waivers. Saying, well, we
talked about that on the show.
Yeah, that's right. And everyone says that's ridiculous and an immature thing to do. And I'm like, what do you mean it's immature? The whole society, whole Western world is becoming so litigious that you can't do anything without.
We talked about this a few weeks back.
Signing off on it firsthand.
We're talking about NFL, like all the CTE cases that are popping up and all the lawsuits. It's like, well, you don't before you start playing
you can get
American football that you're going to have brain damage. Like, let's be fucking real here. Like your whole goal is to smash your head into another player's head to keep them away from your quarterback or whatever it may be. You know that going in. To say, I didn't realize, that's horseshit. So sign your waiver, go, we cannot sue the NFL if we get brain damage, and we play on, you know what I mean?
And God bless the players who sign it, because you're actually doing this for my entertainment. You're putting your life and limb on the line in order to entertain me while I drink beer and eat potato chips, Yep. And I'm happy for that arrangement to continue. It would be like a hockey player, suing the NFL because they've got teeth knocked out. It's like, what, are you fucking kidding? You knew this. You knew the situation when you started.
And that's the beauty of the NHL. Like, those players don't get their teeth fixed until after their career. Because what's the
waste of money.
Point?
Yeah.
So they just wait till all their teeth get fucking knocked out. Yeah. And they're like, all right, like at the end of my career, I'll go get some dentures at that particular point.
Yeah, and if they all started suing the NHL for their dentist bills, I think society should rightly stand up and go, no, I don't think so. That's not fucking right.
That's not how it works.
That's not how it works.
You're aware.
Yeah. So I feel like if you play the sport, you take the risk, you make that decision. It's a conscious decision. You go for it. But then at the same time, I see this kid, McCartan, who keeps getting fucking knocked out all the time. And I feel like, throwing an arm around him and going, mate, are you sure you're doing the right thing here?
Yeah.
Like I'm not going to stop you to keep coming back and playing. But really, have you really thought about this? It's just not right for you. And it's sad because it should be, because you're very talented. You deserve to be good at it. But
AFL's not your bag, man. How do you feel about floristry? Like, flowers? See you up in a nice little shop or something.
Have you ever thought about doing a chef apprenticeship, maybe?
Yeah, get that done.
Yeah.
Side note, we were talking about the bear last week on the show.
Yes.
As a joke, talking about, they've done a show about Ian Maurice. This is amazing. Yeah. And then I was reading the synopsis during the show last week. I'm like, this actually sounds pretty good. Started watching the show last night. Fucking 5 episodes deep. Sensational.
What? The Bear.
The Bear.
Okay, so what's
Disney
it about?
Plus. It's about a chef who's he's like a Michelin star chef, but his brother dies and leaves him his local sandwich restaurant in New York, and he has to take over it, and it's just a fucking shithole. And he's trying to get things back on track because there's all these build. It's really, really good. Worth checking out, man. We discussed it last week. Oliver Platt was in it.
That's right.
Yeah. A bunch of people you probably don't know.
Sounds like something Michael Keaton should be involved in for some reason.
Dark, gritty Birdman style.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, definitely worth checking out, man. So yeah, I'd give it a look. I think you'll enjoy it.
I need to see now. It's on Disney Plus, so unfortunately, I need to wait until the season finishes before I start it, because I can't.
Season's done.
So that's it. 5 episodes. That's it. Is it or?
It's 8 episodes, isn't there?
I don't know. You said you watched 5 episodes.
Oh, yeah. Well, no, I watched 5 and then I had to go to bed.
Ah, right. Okay. So, yeah, as long as the season's finished, I can watch it.
Yeah, season's all done. So
actually, you know what? To be fair, I don't even know if I can do one season at a time anymore. I'm so used to now just like binge watching a whole. I didn't start watching Ted Lasso until I knew the show had finished.
It's finished, so you could just go top to bottom.
Top to bottom. And same with The Sopranos. I didn't watch The Sopranos until like 20 years.
I still got to get around. What's The Sopranos on? I got to get around to that.
It's on a website that I watch all of my stuff illegally. I'll give you the link after the show. So
yeah, beautiful.
It's on there, but it's also on other stuff. But I wouldn't know.
Yeah.
And reason being, like, so I watched season 1 of The Witcher, Greeno. I don't know if you know that show.
Nah, not aware.
It's based on a video game. Myself and the Lady Boogs watched it, and we were really into the first season. We're like, okay, this is good. By the time the second season, we watched the entirety of the second season, and at the end, we were like, both of us said the exact same thing. I have no fucking idea what happened. Like, I'm so completely lost on the story.
Yeah.
Because, like, if you're watching it season to season to season to season, you can follow along. But this show has, like, monsters and magic and shit in it. And it's like, by the time you get if you end season 1 and you have to wait, like, 9 months until the next season comes out, you've completely lost track of the plot. You don't know where the fuck
you got to go back to the start anyway.
Yeah, I'm not going to rewatch the fucking first season again, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not doing that. I'm not dedicating that much time. So we watched, like, I think 6 of the 8 episodes of season 2 and then called it. And, like, that's it. I kept thinking each episode I'm going to catch up on where we're at. And we never did. Like, it was just like, it just got worse and worse and worse and worse. I'm like, I don't even know what fucking character they're referring to half the time.
See,
I don't know what's going on.
That was in Ep 3 season 1.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So it was like, oh, fuck this. So now I only watch shows. There are exceptions. I'm a big fan of the Tom Beers shows, Greeno. Do you know those ones?
No, never those either.
Tom Beers is a producer.
I haven't watched any TV series or any show in like a year and a half, and the only reason I did like now is because like I was stuck and I literally couldn't fucking do anything. So I'm like, what am I going to do to fill my time? And like I had Lasso on like the watch list ready to go.
Yeah.
I had a couple other things, so I'm like, well, I'm just going to like you. I just watched it top to bottom and went through all 3 seasons of Lasso. I'm like, that's amazing, excellent. What do we got next?
Yeah, exactly. Knock it off the list. Tom Beers is a producer for Discovery Channel. So his shows are shit like Deadliest Catch, Dirty Jobs.
Those kind of shows. Yeah.
So I love those kinds of shows. At the moment, I'm watching Bering Sea Gold. It's great. It's like fucking Northern rednecks. Okay. You know, and they're all fighting each other over.
I think you'd mentioned some of these shows before.
Oh, it's great. They're fighting each other over scraps of gold, and you know, it's just like we got to put the gold in the box, and you know, I spend all this money, put the gold in the box, and it's like a floating shed, you know, like on the fucking Bering Sea. It's ridiculous. So I love shows like that. You know, Deadliest Catch, the crab show. I fucking love Deadliest Catch. Probably my favorite show, Greeno.
You are a little bit obsessed with Deadliest Catch.
Seasons.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so fucking good.
Yeah.
You know, so shows like that, I don't need to wait for the next season because each individual episode, like there's no really continuing storyline in them. Each individual episode, it's an hour of like a window into their life, and then the next episode will be a different hour. It doesn't really matter. So you can just watch them randomly, like, and you know, it doesn't. You don't have to see it in order. There's no storyline to it. Really.
Nice.
Yeah, it's just like kind of reality TV.
Yeah.
So that's the exception I'll make. But now everything else, I'm like, no, I'm just going to wait until the season's over at least, and preferably I'll wait until all the seasons are over.
Yeah, just go all the way top. Yeah. No, I agree. Because I was thinking, saying there's a show about to kick off. I didn't realize Stan, when they release shows, they've released like one a week.
Oh yeah, fuck that.
Of new seasons.
Disney does that too, man.
What the fuck is this? Like, I just want to watch the show. And like, no, the next step's not till here. I'm like, what? Are we back in 1990? Like, what's happening here? Just put it on and let me watch the bloody thing.
No, I've told you before. Eventually, eventually the streaming services will just become the new free to air.
A new free to air, but you have to pay for it.
Yeah, basically, you'll be paying for the ads again. It'll happen.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, that one I'm going to do what you recommended there. Although, well, I'm not going to just watch one episode and then have to wait a week for the next one. I'll wait till all the episodes are unlocked, and then I'll just watch season 2 of this particular show. So the bear's going to tide me over until that's up and running.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's do a quick story time if I can, sir.
I like stories about pinatas.
So yesterday I got to take off my final bit of bandage that was around the old abdomen belly in the removal of the bandage process. There's a couple that had to stay on for a couple of weeks, and there was others that had to stay on for 4 to 5 weeks. So I got to take those off. Now what I wasn't aware of until I was in hospital was that apparently I'm allergic to the weird kind of like the specific hospital tape that they put on to hold things down. Okay. Got a weird skin reaction to that bad boy. So didn't think much of it until today, where I was doing my rehab walking around the streets of my suburb, and realised that like my whole abdomen was like really itchy. So I'm like, scratching away and rest away, looking, pulling up, like, what the fuck's going on here? And after about 20 minutes of like rubbing my belly, scratching my belly and walking around, I realised to the nearest passerby, I just look like some weird crackhead who can't stop fucking scratching.
Nice, Gary!
A weird byproduct of it is all my neighbours now think, this guy's a fucking crackhead. He's got a fucking little scratchy belly. No. When in reality, it's just a little bit of fucking itchy allergy
abs. Yeah.
to the abs.
Yeah.
Good news though, Damo, the abs are starting to come back.
Are they? So you're already back on the pump, are you? Or?
Well, no. As in, like, it's just the swelling is disappearing. I haven't had a drink in like 5 weeks, so there's no beer belly there. And I've walked the equivalent of 300 kilometres in 4 weeks.
When can you get back on the cans, incidentally? Because the lady Boogs was asking me the other day, like I mentioned something about you, and she said, "When the fuck is her quote was something along the lines of, when the fuck is this cunt going to give us our tacos?"
Nice, Gary!
When is that happening?
Well, firstly, it's nachos, not tacos.
Nachos. Labuschagne's out, by the way.
Yeah, just all that gone for 9.
It was a waste of
Good
time.
catch.
He's going to review it, is he? Or he's talking to the umpire on his way off. He's going to.
How's he going to review it? And he fucking obviously nicked it. I don't understand what would he possibly be reviewing. Good catch.
Oh yeah,
good catch by Root. Have a look at this thing. I'm just trying to work out what he was reviewing.
I was just about to say, because I'm watching it, I'm like, you know what? I think I'm figured out what the Aussies are going to do. They're going to grind these English bowlers into the dirt, because I bet they're not as quick and as feisty after 90 overs as they are after 40 overs. You know what I mean? So maybe this plan works. Maybe we just make them really, really fucking tired, and then we cruise past their score and end up getting only having to bat once, and then they can't catch us. But, you know, that's not going to work if you score 9 off fucking 60-something. I've never seen Manus play like that, ever.
I don't mind it. He's just leaving the ball.
But such a weird test match, man.
He's just trying to bat time, though. It's good because, you know, England is swinging away. I don't mind
batted
it.
time, but he got no runs for it. So it's kind of like, well, there's no point to it then.
Yeah, but he didn't. He did. Well, there was a point. He just took 90 overs out of the bowlers.
Yeah, I guess.
Anyway, back to your point. A couple of weeks before I'm all cleared, and then I'll do nachos for everyone.
Okay.
But I'm seeing you guys next week anyway.
Are we? Oh yeah. Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
Yeah, but you won't be able to cook next weekend because it's the Baby BoogieBumper baby's birthday. We're going to a wildlife park around a little story time.
I like stories about pinatas.
Going to a local little wildlife park with the Baby BoogieBumper baby, and she's going to be 1, so. You know, she's probably going to be kind of out of it most of the day because 1-year-olds don't really know what's going on at their first birthday. They're not too kind of hip to the scene. You know what I mean?
Pretty safe to assume she'll be sick as well.
Probably, yeah. She'll have the daycare death plague.
As always happens,
Yeah, so, you know, she's not going to be really aware of what's happening around her. And because myself and Lady Boogs had kids so much later than all of our friends did, like all of our friends' kids are like at least 5, 6, 7 years older than she is. So they're all much older. So it's not even like she's going to have other 1-year-olds around. All of her friends growing up are going to be like 5, 6, 7 years older than her.
Which is what you want.
Well, it's good and bad. Like, obviously, you know, like, because when all the friends' kids get to like 13, 14, they're not going to want to play with the 7-year-old anymore.
I think they still do because there's that kind of
they're good
sense
kids.
of...
They're going to look after her and stuff, you know, mother and her a little bit. They're good kids, but generally speaking, kids don't want to know about, you know.
Well, they do. Like my 13-year-old niece likes hanging out with like my 5-year-old son.
Yeah.
Because he looks up to her.
Yeah.
So
right.
it's kind of like
So
she's
as long
in
as you
charge.
feed the ego of the older kids.
Got to feed the ego of the big kids. That's what you got to do.
So you got to tell them how cool they are and how much you want to be like them, and then they'll look after you. Yeah.
They'll take care. Exactly.
Except for when they become like 18, and then they're going to just leave you in the dust when they get the license and drive off. And get laid and party and stuff. And then they're like, all right, see you later, kid. Look after your 13-year-old. It's like, nuh-uh.
Boy, scary.
Nuh-uh. Sorry, kid. You're on your own.
They got their own thing going on.
Yeah, you're still doing fairy bread, you know.
Yeah.
We're doing lines at the disco. We're fine.
We're busy.
Yeah, totally. So she's gonna be turning 1. We're going to a wildlife park where there's a lot of animals kind of just strolling around getting snacks off people, Greeno.
Mm-hmm.
So you can take like a little cup of snacks. All the kiddies will get a little cup of snacks, and they get to walk around and feed like the wallabies and the quokkas and all the weird little marsupial animals that we have here. And we took her on like a kind of recon mission beforehand, and we thought, all right, what animals is she going to be interested in, Greeno? Like what animals is the baby BoogieBumper baby going to be, concerned with? She didn't really give a fuck about anything.
No, zero. Absolutely zero. Yeah, that's right.
The only animal that she kind of was interested in was the echidna.
Yeah.
And where she stood up and like put her hands on the glass and said, what the and looked at us like, what the fuck is
what
that
is
thing?
this? Yeah.
I have not seen one of these things before in any of the cartoons. It's got spikes. It looks like a poisonous dart kind of pin cushion. I don't know what the fuck this is. So unfortunately for us, it looks like we're doomed to a lifetime of protecting her from dangerous things, because the only animal she wanted to cuddle is the one with all of the sharp spikes, all over it.
Nice, Gary.
Nice, Gary.
Can I feed the echidna? No, it's going to eat you.
Daddy, I want an echidna. Like, no. What are you doing?
No. Do you want a Harley instead? A Harley Davidson?
Yeah. It's safer than the echidna.
Yeah. Totally. So.
That'd be good next week. Looking forward to that. We're going to see everyone. And so tell the Lady Boogs that there'll be no nachos next week, but we'll organise that sooner rather than later.
Yeah. No, instead you'll be eating Wildlife Park hamburger and chips, I think you're getting for lunch. So
beautiful.
Yeah, well, it won't be good. I don't think.
No.
Probably not. It's
Wait, is this the big one, the new one?
No, it's not new. It's the old one.
Oh, the old one. Okay.
Yeah. So maybe it's old, or maybe they know what they're doing, I guess,
Yeah, maybe. It could be. Because I was like, oh, no, I went to the new one recently, and the food there was all right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, this is not a zoo. This is a wildlife park. It's different. It's in suburbia. If you're not, when we won't reveal where it is exactly.
No, we're not going to reveal where it is. That's why I'm being general.
But it's basically like houses next door to it. And when we were walking around, we're like, how do they keep all the animals? Like, if you lived behind, because there is literal like suburban houses behind this wildlife park. And the animals must be going off their fucking tits first thing in the morning for food.
100% they would be, yeah. You'd be hearing donkeys, you'd be hearing all this kind of shit.
Well, my question to the Lady Books was, Greeno, how much are they paying the local residents, each week to put up with the noise and the smell?
And the
smell. Can you imagine the fucking smell of this place?
Smell would, I can deal with the noise, man. I like animal noises are fine. They're cool. Like, it's all good. It's part of nature. But the smell is a different story.
The smell must be rank, especially in the middle of summer. There's walruses shitting and stuff all over the place or whatever they got in there. And how much are they paying? I'm like, I said, they have to be paying them off. They have to be giving them something,
It'd be a little, it's got to be some kind of subsidy, the farming subsidy or the wildlife park subsidy.
Yeah.
It's like, here's a fitty, put it towards the air freshener.
Yeah.
And speaking of which, that's quick story time. That was actually on the rundown.
I like stories about pinatas.
Nice segue.
Because I can't lift anything, can't really do much, the Lady Greeno has been doing the groceries, which is normally my domain. Because I got a strict regimen when it comes to the groceries. I'm similar to you, man.
Regiment. You like to shop. You like to go out on a Saturday morning, nice and early, get it all done. It's kind of, but it's kind of like your ritual. It's like like your peace time. Yeah,
it is. It's the only solo time I get.
Yeah,
but it's in and out. It's kind of like no fucking around. I know exactly where everything is. I know exactly what I want. I'm in. I grab it. I'm out. I chat with Dane, and we're done. Man on a mission, we get that finished. So I've had to hand over the duties, but I still write the list. So I got doctor's handwriting. So I've had to go back to single, no running writing anymore. Had to try and do it nice and neat. I'm taking my time, trying to do it in the lines so it's actually legible for the wife to read. Got all that done. Now the difference is you've got the situation where when you get to certain aisles, and say maybe they're out of stock of the brand you normally buy. You got to make a judgment call, right? So normally I know exactly what my next point of call is, but I can't write that down in the notes. Like if this one's not there, get this brand or get this, or, just go to the next aisle and we'll be here. So the Lady Greeno goes to the air freshener aisle, and the regular air freshener that we get, not there.
Okay.
So she has to make a judgment call, which is fine. All good, go nuts. You can't go wrong with an air freshener. So she's picked one in her wisdom and just whacked it up there. So I used the bathroom the other day to give it a bit of a spray, get everything nice and odoriferous. Like, what the fuck is that? And it's a coconut.
Ah, coconut.
It's a coconut spray, which in theory sounds nice.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
Until
coconut makes me... I often get like coconut shampoos, Greeno, because it makes me feel like I'm back in Thailand on holiday or something.
There you go. Yeah. But what I've realised is when I walk into my toilet now, it smells like a golden rough. Now, I don't know whether that's a good or a bad thing in my bathroom.
How could it ever be bad?
It just smells like golden rough. Yeah. Now, for American listeners, a golden rough is like a little chocolate patty. Yeah. It's chock full of coconut. It's fucking delicious. Yes. But I don't know if I want my bathroom smelling like coconut ruffs.
Okay, golden rough.
See if we can find a golden.
I'm going to bring up the golden rough. You got to try this. Americans try Nestle Golden Rough from Australia for the first time. Let's have a look.
Takes them 3 minutes to eat a golden rough.
Apparently, but we're going to skip through, so
we're going to skip a lot of it, I think. Foreign snack reviews. Why is he wearing a mask?
It's basically a chocolate disc with roasted coconut in it.
That's what I just said.
More or less.
Sounds good. Yeah.
Okay, this looks like some. This looks like some fuckwit and his dad, I think.
We need to pause. We need to find out how many views this has got, because we got one listener.
Okay.
Let's have a look. How many views?
This has 484 views. They've got 174 subscribers. Okay, so it's pretty low quality.
Yeah.
It's like a circle. It's exclusive.
It's like a circle, Greeno.
Nice,
well, it is.
It is a circle, but close enough.
It is a circle.
Close enough, my American friend.
So to Australia, same thing with the violet crumbles and cherry ripe.
Yeah.
And
they're not a circle though.
Yeah.
They're a bar.
They're a bar. Okay, let's have a look.
And this is what a golden rough looks like.
And it's thin.
True.
It's like a wafer.
It's like a wafer.
It's not a wafer.
It's not like a wafer at all, but anyway.
Not a wafer at all. It's literally a circle of chocolate with coconut in it. But
what does it look like inside?
It looks like chocolate with coconut.
You don't break it in half. You just bite into the.
You just bite it. He's doing it wrong. You don't ever break a coconut rough in half.
Filled with coconut.
It's fucking chock full of coconut there. It's all coconut.
Pieces of coconut inside of it. It's delicious.
Well, I can see why these people only have 74 subscribers.
Let's take a bite.
Take a bite. Come on.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Right. Toasted coconut.
I think they like it, great.
They do. They seem to enjoy it. So there you go. Looking forward to tomorrow's big old dump and the coconut rough after it. It's very, very, very solid. So we'll take a quick break and then we'll come back with everyone's new favourite segment, Forgotten Vegetable of the Week.
Oh.
Do you like your novelty comedy songs organic? Handmade with painstaking care, put into every note? Well, look no further than Irrational Times. Using only the finest instruments to create an experience that your ears will thank you for later, Irrational Times attempts to elevate the whimsy to a desirable level. New songs and sketches every week, so check it out.
There's a place that we can go to watch old things. All the warm, fuzzy member berries it brings. It's a special little spot tucked away on D-Live. Enjoy the joy of Pessy. Campy old movies and old cartoons. We hope to see you over there very soon. It's our special little spot tucked away on D-Live. Enjoy the joy of Pessy. When we were kids and there wasn't any school, we'd sit and watch all the best cartoons. still be cool. Saturday night and cheesy movies, the ones that used to show us boobies. It's our special little spot tucked away on D-Live. Enjoy the joy of Pessy. Enjoy the joy of Pessy. Enjoy the joy of Pessy.
Now with less than 3% sport content. It's the starting block on TAVshow.com.
Yes, welcome back to the block, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Don't forget, Good Doc Life, soon to take over from X.com, whatever the fuck it is. Twitter.x, Exhibit.
Twitter. It's not Twitter.com.
Twitter.x.
Fucking stupid X on top instead.
X.com. Okay.
Damo, this new segment, fucking,
it's going off its tits, Greeno, isn't it?
I don't want to speak out of tune here, but my word, the feedback from the fans,
it's huge.
It's just been like
the buy-in, Greeno, from the fans.
It's been a groundswell. Now, so much so is our boy, our seventh listener, Stephen Babb, has already sent in next week's
Nice, Gary.
forgotten vegetable of the week, and he has a recipe for us. He's already sent it.
Okay.
It's in the bank, so that's a bit of a teaser for everyone.
So tune in next week for this week's reference, basically, which is the way we operate around here. This is
that's how we roll.
Yeah.
But you put out pretty much a blanket rule last week that look, this week has to be the turnip. The turnip is long forgotten because let's not forget week 1 Choco.
Yeah.
Which is right up there.
Yep.
Funnily enough, then saw a Choco a couple of days later inside a supermarket.
Oh, of course
not,
you did.
Not
now
one person touched it.
Now you're looking for it, Green.
Looking for Chocos. Well, I was actually looking for forgotten vegetables, but
there you go.
Nonetheless.
Well, you won't see them in the every day-to-day supermarket. See, for me, the turnip is like a Dickensian kind of vegetable. It's something that's referred to, in 1800s literature as something poor people would eat, So of course it's forgotten in our modern decadent Western capitalist ways. We've now embraced other vegetables and we've left the turnip to the wayside because it's like, you know what, we're not all fucking starving to death. It's not a choice between eating rats and turnips. Now we can eat whatever the fuck we want. So I think the turnip is.
Can you quickly do me a solid? Can you hit the sorry book for me there?
Okay, sorry.
For who? This is a me to you. This one.
Oh, okay, it's special.
Because I'm looking at this recipe up on the screen, and I'm like, hang on, because last week I kind of poo-pooed your turnip suggestion. Because I'm like, nah, man, I use that in like
you
soups
said
and
turnips
stuff.
are so popular. I'm like, no, they're not. They're fucking.
I'm like, they're in the soup pack. It's fine. I just realised it's a parsnip that's in the soup pack, not a turnip.
Ah, there you go.
So it's so
Parsnip
forgotten.
is the
I've forgotten what it
turnip's
is.
evil cousin, that took over the turnip.
That took over the turnip. So it gives you even more credence to the fact that it's a forgotten vegetable because I totally confused it with a completely different vegetable.
Turnips would be made into soup and fed to orphans in the 1800s kind of situation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's a terrible, terrible fucking vegetable.
Mm-hmm.
Turnips can be a little sharp in their taste, but something happens when you roast these peppery veggies from the mustard family. Roasting mellows the flavour of turnips and concentrates their texture into a tender, melting vegetable. Serve these easy roasted turnips with other roasted vegetables. Blah, 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 blah. The recipe is really a method. This recipe is really a method? Okay. Feel free to change the amount to suit your needs. Try adding fresh herbs or spices or combine the turnips with other root vegetables as you like. So you can hide it amongst other vegetables? No, we're not down for that. You'll find some variations at the end of the recipe. They're tasty all on their own, but can certainly benefit from a little bit of extra love. So let's have a little quick look at this recipe, Greeno, which I'm not going to like. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to be straight up front with you, because this is one of those recipes that has no talking over it. It's just top-down images of someone doing stuff to food.
Doing stuff. Now, we've had to make sure, the whole point of this segment is try and find a recipe so good that we're going to get you on board and bring it back. So last week we saw a choco that was boiled?
I don't know.
A bit of butter and salt and pepper.
Salt and pepper, that's right. Butter, salt and pepper, and that was it. It wasn't even boiled. She thinly sliced the choco.
Thinly sliced, my apologies. That's
and then
right.
put it in a saucepan with butter, salt, and pepper. And then after a couple, she just stirred it and then took it out again, and that was it.
It's done.
Yeah.
Like, you can't be perfection.
That's right.
So this week, we're like, well, we've got to make sure we live up to those lofty standards.
Right.
So everyone grab your pen and paper before we get to the video. Pen and paper.
Well, I just want to let you know, in preparation for this segment, because I already had a look at this video, and you can tell by looking at it, like if you take like little shots of the thumbs here, you can tell it's one of those ones that just has a crappy music soundtrack and no talking, and it's just like, step 3, do this to the turnip.
Yeah.
I hate those videos. So in the ad break, I've Googled, I put in YouTube turnip recipe, and this came up from carblessly delicious low carb recipes, which I think is some kind of obese Indian woman. And she's
how many subscribers?
She has 3,900 subscribers, Greeno. And I'm going to subscribe to her right now, so I'll be 3,901.
That seems excessive for a carblessly delicious low carb recipe channel.
This is a low number for a YouTube cooking channel. So
really,
I'm going to give the elderly Indian obese woman a like and a subscribe, because I reckon her turnip recipe is going to be so much better than this one. Well, this mass-produced mass media shit here.
Let's not jump the gun here, because I've looked at the list of ingredients. Yeah. We've got turnip, salt, pepper,
okay.
oil. That's it.
Okay, that's what we're running with. Okay,
write that down. I'll repeat it.
Yep.
All right, everyone ready? Pens ready?
Yep. Got it.
Turnip.
Hang on. Can you go back to the start again? Because I
gotta go back to the start. It's like one of those MasterChef ones. You gotta get on it quick. Right. I don't want to miss an ingredient.
Hang on, I've got my pen now. Okay, I'm ready.
The pen? Yep. Pen working?
Yep.
Double check.
Yeah. Hang on.
There you go.
Okay, we're good. Yep.
We're good. All right. So we need turnip.
Yep.
Yep. Oil.
Is that canola or vegetable or olive or
oil? Lady's choice.
Okay.
Salt.
Okay, salt. That's going to be hard to find, I think.
Yeah. Look deep in the herb oil there. Yeah. And pepper.
Is that with 1 pea or 2 peas?
It's 3 peas technically.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Okay. So let me read this back to you and make sure I've got the correct.
To make sure you got it right. Yeah.
Okay, so we've got turnip.
Yep.
Okay, turnip's essential, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, probably need that for the turnip recipe.
Okay, we've also got, I think it's oil. Is it pronounced oil? Yeah.
Oil, that's right. Oil. Yeah, you'll find that in the deep recesses of the supermarket there. Just best to ask.
Well, as John Laws said, Greeno, oils ain't oils. Okay.
Yeah.
Nice, Gary.
Then we've got, is it salt?
Salt, yep. And then, put that on there.
And then pepper. Greeno.
And then pepper. You probably need to go to a spice market for those last two, just to be sure.
Sound exotic, don't they? Salt
exactly.
Mediterranean things, I think, by the sounds of it. Yeah.
Now, how you combine those things?
Well,
we're going to have to leave it to the video, I guess.
Okay, let's see the magistry that is.
I'm glad there's a recipe, and I'm glad there's a video for this.
Good. Let's have a
just
look.
To be sure. All right, so we're going to have to, because there's no audio. All right, so roasted turnips is the recipe. So first...
So 2 pounds of roasted turnips, Greeno, which is about 0.9 kilograms.
Yeah.
So about
cut
a kilo.
and peel the turnips, cutting the ends off the turnips there. Okay. And now you're cutting them into little squares, little cubes, whatever your shape of your choice.
Cut them in half lengthways and then cut them in semicircle kind of chunks.
Hey, lady, slow down. I can't keep up. Hang on. Whoa. What are we doing with the oil?
Okay,
we're
she's
drizzling
the olive oil.
Drizzling the olive oil on those cut turnips.
On said turnips, yeah.
All right, very good.
Now we're taking some salt.
Now sprinkling a bit of salt. Yep. Look, probably best if you're a novice cook. Oh, no pepper. My apologies.
The pepper must come after, to go, maybe.
I don't think there's any pepper. You might need to go back. We'll have to wait and see.
Just turnip, salt, and oil, and that's it.
And oil. That's it.
Okay.
And you're done. There you go.
Now let's look at the obese Indian woman's recipe, Greeno. Let's have.
What she got? Let's have a look. Look, I can just point out that first lady did wonders with the forgotten vegetable of the week, the turnip.
Yeah, but I think we can do better.
To carpet
that's
delicious. In this video, we have garlic roasted turnips on the menu.
Okay,
the perfect
garlic.
healthy low-carb substitute for potatoes. I'm Betty, your host, your friend. I welcome you here to my channel.
Betty Rawls Jacobs.
So Betty is not Indian; she's black. So
Where you can find inspiration for low-carb and keto-friendly meals
Keto-friendly,
and
all right.
recipes. I'll be stepping you through this recipe today, so
What's a
let's
keto,
get
Damo?
started.
it's so that's meat
Isn't
and
that
veg
the
only, isn't it?
the Green Lantern sidekick?
I'm going to quickly take you through as I peel and cut the turnips into cubes. So let's go. Follow
I'm
along
glad we
with
got a
me.
video to cover this.
This looks like home
Peeling-
cooking shit to me, though. This is good. I'm liking it already, Greg.
Peeling and cutting. In case you're not too sure how to peel and cut, Damo.
Yep. That's a fancy
Very
knife.
good.
Isn't it?
I don't feel like that's
Half
going
of
to
it
cut very
missing.
well.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't feel that's got the weight behind it that you probably need to get through there.
I've got some good Japanese blades, Greeno. Those
Yeah, I'm the
Japanese,
same.
they know how to
Yeah.
cut shit. You know what I mean?
I got one that the wife got for me many years back. Still, like, sharp as fuck.
Yeah.
Like, real
The
quality
Japs, mate,
knives.
they know how to make them.
They do.
Okay, we're cubing it like this
well,
is what I
calm
would
down.
do
You
when
don't
I
need-
do mashed potato, Greeno.
Yeah, you don't need this many. Like, let's calm down, Betty.
It's a lot of turnip.
It's a lot of turnip there.
So that your cuts
Okay.
will cook at the same
You know
time.
what? Tell Lady
Let's get
Books,
these over
Yeah.
I'm not
into
doing the
a roasting
nachos
dish.
anymore.
We're doing turnips.
I'm doing turnips and chocos. for the
Chocos
girls.
and turnips
Spices and
recipes.
herbs that I combine together, which I will leave in the description.
Okay, there's a
below.
lot of herbs
Go
in there,
ahead and
Greeno.
use your hands to evenly
Shit ton of
coat your
herbs.
cubes. The
Drown
olive
those
oil
fuckers, 'cause that's how bland the turnip is.
Until tender, rough.
Okay, what is she? Whoa, that was quick. What is she baking it in? A friggy bake, Greeno.
That's an oven. That's fine.
Okay.
Side note, this is meant to be like, she's like low carb, blah, blah, blah. She's just put like 18
Full
sticks of
stick of
butter
butter,
on that
yeah.
bastard.
At 350
So this isn't exactly the healthiest of turnip recipes.
to an hour, depending on the sizes of your cuts.
Okay, it does look fucking good though. I'm gonna give her that.
Nice, Gary!
I could.
It looks like roast potatoes.
It does look like roast potatoes, Greeno.
That's why.
Looks like really good roast potatoes. Though.
Large cubes
Yeah.
will take
Looks and tastes just like potato. Why not just eat the fucking potatoes then?
Yeah, I'm a
This is
potato
what bugs me.
fiend.
Is what I watch a lot of cooking shows, and these vegans and vegetarians who are like, "We've made this to taste like bacon." Just fucking eat the bacon then. Stop trying to take vegetables and plant-based shit and make
Well,
it
I
taste
guess
like something
it's
else.
a low carb alternative to potatoes, but I seriously, a quick little story.
I like stories
It's more of
about
more of an
pinatas.
admission, father. I eat potatoes literally like every day, every day. And if there are no potatoes in the house, Lady Boogs does the groceries and I do the cooking, and I'm like, babe, where the fuck are the potatoes?
Potatoes.
We are out of potatoes. I need potatoes in my life every day. It's the Irish in me, you know. There's a bit of German and a bit of Irish in my background, and the Irish in me says, "Where's the fucking potatoes?" and the German
Where's
in
the
me says,
potatoes?
"Where's the fucking beer to go with the potatoes?" You know.
It's a story we've told on the show before. There was a period where the only thing that you consume for like 2 weeks, potatoes.
No, 12 months. No.
So it's just
When we first moved out, we were so broke, we had no money. So literally the only thing that we could afford to buy was bags of potatoes to eat. So we discovered every potato recipe on the planet because that's all we had. That was our base. That was the base for every meal that we ever
everything
made.
you had, yeah.
It's when we moved into that little flat in Paro. Remember that place?
Yeah, I remember. I came over
Yeah.
and I'm like, what's with all the bags of potatoes?
That's
Like,
what we're having
we
for
got.
dinner. Yeah.
We got potatoes for dinner.
Greeno,
Like, all right, cool.
must have had a half a dozen fucking potato dishes at our house. You know what I mean? Potato
They
bake.
were all delicious.
Potato bake, potato. There was one what you call gym din, which was loaded up like so. This was a pre-gym dinner, so it was loaded up. It was carbolicious. You know what I mean? It was kind of a potato bake, but it was basically like potato lasagna. So I would slice the potato super thin to make it like lasagna sheets, and then treat it like lasagna and put chicken and shit in between it, and then roast it that way. And it was like potato lasagna. You know, we made every possible potato dish under the sun when we were.
Oh,
living there.
well, I see that as a challenge. Because I've got something on the menu for tomorrow, and I guarantee you didn't make it when you're in your potato phase.
Okay.
I'm doing potato tacos.
So the taco is the potato?
No, the filling is potato.
Okay, yeah, no, I haven't done that. That's
Didn't do that one. I'm going to see how they go. I'll see if they're any good.
How are you going to do that? Are you going to mash it, or are you going to like fry it up?
You kind of
like
you
burn
roast it
a little bit.
You roast it, then you mash it, and then you mix it with a bunch of shit, and you make kind of like a chewy filling.
Yeah.
And then you put it, and then you deep fry it.
Yeah, I was thinking like how
So
you're
it's
going to make
kinda
it
like-
meaty, because it's got to be kind of mince-like, doesn't it?
It does, but basically it's kind of like having a roast chip inside a like taco tortilla, and you deep fry that, and you dip it in like a chipotle sour cream sauce.
Very interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, well, you know that one goes.
Yeah, send some
look, don't get me wrong.
photos through to the group chat, would you? If
It's
you don't mind?
it's no turnip, and it's no choco, but
Well,
it should
yeah,
be pretty good.
Now you need to do it with the turnip, obviously.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're going to...
Can I just say, it's definitely been another successful Forgotten Fruit of the Week. This segment, going
clearly.
off its tits. I'm loving it.
Yeah. Looking forward to Stephen Babb's Forgotten Vegetable of the Week next week, Green.
Yeah, he's got the recipe ready. It's
No
a thing
spoilers. No spoilers.
Yeah.
You're going to have to tune in next week to see what it is. So.
Exactly. Now, Damo, before we get to the hot stove hero, time to do a Shohei Statman. Because not surprisingly, he did something historic again today. So today the Angels played a doubleheader against Detroit, and in game one, Shohei was pitching and batting, obviously, and then in game two, you just assume he's not going to he just pitched beforehand. He's not going to bat and play in game two, but no, he did. That's all fine. Yeah. He threw a shutout in the first game, which basically means he went through the entire 9 innings. First time he's done that. For no runs. And then in the next game, he's like, well, you know, that he still played the second game anyway. He just went to hit 2 homers in 4 innings.
God, he's a freak.
Unreal. Only play with a shutout in 1 game of a doubleheader, home run another, let alone 2. Last time it happened was 1971 Sonny Seisbert. And that was only hitting 1 home run, not 2 in the next one.
He's breaking records that people didn't even know existed. That's how good he is. Like he's already broken all of the known records, and now he's moving his way into the records that nobody knows.
Like
were a thing.
I know a lot about baseball. I've never heard the name Sonny Seisbert.
That's it. That's what I'm talking about. Like Sonny is sitting somewhere going, "Are you fucking kidding me? This Jap got my record. How the fuck did that happen?"
He did that one. I've never heard of Rick Wise. I've never heard of Pedro Ramos. I have heard of 1961 Mil Pappas though. So there we go. But have a look at this from a timeline. So 3:26 p.m. Shohei Ohtani throws his final pitch of a shutout.
Timeline. We're doing Shohei timelines. Yeah, like it's the Marvel universe.
He just pitched 9 innings, and at 3:26, he's done. He's pitched the entire game. They've just got to win.
Up. Rest your arm.
Go and
mate.
rest up, mate. Put the arm in ice. No. I better go bat. 4:45. Shohei Ohtani hits his league-leading 37th home run. Fucking unreal.
I love him.
Unreal.
So he never ended up getting traded, though, obviously. So.
Well, So what happened is all these rumors that he's like, they're gonna trade him. They end up winning 8 of their next 9, I think it was. Yep. So now the owners like, well, we can't. Yeah. We can't sell him like we're close to making the playoffs for the first time in 10 years. 10 years? Yeah. No, I think it's 2014. So 9 years. We can't sell him. So they end up trading and bringing players in yesterday, which basically shows that they're not going to sell. So Shohei is off the trade block, which is good news.
But, I mean, if you're bringing... Correct me if I'm wrong, but if you're bringing in players now, shouldn't that be like, okay, you're going to have a little shot at this year, fair enough, but it's really not going to cement until next year's playoffs. Like then, so now you have to be like building for the future. And then I would have thought, well, if you're building for the future, shouldn't you have been putting players around Shohei and Trout like fucking 4 or 5 years ago? Like, shouldn't you have been building for the playoffs already when you had them?
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck is wrong with the Angels, honestly? Like, as a baseball novice, like, is that stupid to say? Like,
no, you're 100% spot on. So they completely botched all this because, firstly, I don't think they expected Shohei to be this good. Like
we knew.
Every team,
you and I knew he was going to be this good before he even played his first game. Do you remember?
I didn't think he was going to be this good. I thought he was going to be good. I didn't think he was going to be this good. Like, this is ridiculous. But they already had the best player in the world in Mike Trout, and then they brought in the new best player in the world in Shohei Ohtani. Now,
I didn't make playoffs for fucking 5 years.
And still have never made playoffs the entire time Shohei's been there because they keep on making the same mistake. They give big money contracts to these hitters who break down. They've repeated the same error with big dollar contracts to big names about 4 times now.
They literally could win consecutive World Series for the next fucking 5 years as long as they just bring in average good role players. And that's all they need.
Well, no, it's always been starters. They can hit. They always have a good lineup, but they never get any pitchers. So it's like, go get some fucking pitchers, and they still haven't done that, but they managed to work around it. But what they did in the draft 2 years ago, it's never been done before. The rounds are like 15 rounds of the draft.
Yeah, there's so many teams, so many players, so many games.
Every single round they drafted a pitcher.
Really?
It's never happened before. They're just like, we're going to draft another pitcher. And they just stacked their minor system with young pitchers, and they're starting to come through now. So there was a little bit of strategy in that, but not enough to get them on top of everyone else. So.
But now, how old's Trout now? Like 33 something?
31, 32, yeah. So he's heading towards the back end of his career. It's just a game like he deserves. He's played 3. He's never won a playoff game. He's played 3 playoff games in his career, and he's arguably the best offensive player to ever play the game.
Yeah, that ain't right. So
yeah.
What's going to happen is if they don't make playoffs, and not even make playoffs, but go deep into the playoffs in the next 2 years, what's going to happen is he's going to, as a 35-year-old, he's going to go and top off some other team that's already in contention. You know, he's going to go and do that. And then Shohei will do the same fucking thing. Shohei will end up playing for the fucking Yankees. You know, the Yankees will be in contention, and he'll just go and top them off, you know, like.
Shohei hates the Yankees. He refuses to sign for him.
He says that now, but let's be honest.
Well, that and the Yankees aren't going to make the playoffs now anyway, so it won't matter. Yeah. So the hot tip is he'll go to the Dodgers because the Dodgers make the playoffs every year. And he wants to play in the final.
He gets to stay in LA then as well.
And he gets to stay in LA. And the talk is that because when he came over from Japan, there was no designated hitter in the National League, which is where the Dodgers are at. So when he signed, he's like, well, I can only really, I can't pitch and hit if I have to field as well.
That's crazy that I never knew that. Like, I'm sorry if that's an amateur thing to not know, but that's a weird thing that there's different rules in the 2 different leagues like that.
Like, there was 2 sets of rules for a long time.
That's so weird, man. That's wild.
So
are there American sports? Like, I know there's... you Americans have some weird shit, like you have 2 different leagues running concurrently. Like in the NFL, it's the same thing, isn't it? Like the AFC
divisions,
and the NFC, and you know, like you've got your own weird little things going on. Like we just have one comp here, and everyone plays in the one comp, and it's nice and straightforward.
And then the best teams go to the finals, and thanks for coming.
Yeah, but you guys have your own little fucking weird system where it's like, I don't know, like half of the country plays in one league, and the other half of the country plays in another league, and at the end, the best 2 from each league meet or something. Right? Yeah. Like that's how it works.
Well, the reason they have the American and National League in baseball is because they used to actually be 2 they were 2 separate baseball competitions.
Yeah, it's like the railroad fucking empires, you know, like no one person owned the railroads. It's like, no, there's one whole railroad system on the eastern side of the country and another whole railroad system on the western side of the country, you know. But can I ask you this? So in the World Series, whose rules do they play?
Well, the fun fact. So what they used to do is whoever was the home team, you had to go by their rules.
Oh, really? So it would change each game.
So 100%.
So in one game you would have a designated hitter, and then the next game, if you're away, you don't have a designated.
You don't exactly. So you had all these pitchers in the American League who never hit all year, and then in the biggest game of the year,
they have to come out and hit.
They have to come in and hit.
That's amazing.
But on the counter argument, you had all these National League pitchers who are like, oh man, I got to go hit. They got to take a break for a day, and then you had these batters who might not get a chance to be a designated hitter. So, but then they changed the rule 2 years ago and said now it's across the whole league, and the league's a lot better for it. So, so back to the original point, if the designated hitter had been in the National League when Shohei came over, they're saying he probably would have signed for the Dodgers in the first place.
Right. Okay. But he didn't, so you can't go back and change time. So
it just makes them the favourite to sign him in the offseason.
Maybe.
Because now he can go there.
Could always go to the A's, Shohei. I mean, Las Vegas is nice this time of year. You know, nice Gary.
He's trying to make the playoffs.
It doesn't really fit in with Moneyball either, because once he comes off this very juicy, fucking cheap Japanese import contract, it's not going to be Moneyball anymore. Like, he's not going to be cheap, is he? He's going to have to be the highest paid player in fucking baseball history, I think, at the end of his contract.
They're saying estimated amount, it'll start with a 6. So he's either going to get 60 million a year or 600 million.
600 million.
Yeah. No player's ever got 500 million. So they're saying, look, realistically, he's worth about 600
million. For that kind of money, there's only a few teams he can go to for that kind of money, isn't there? Well,
no, look, I think all those owners have that money. And realistically, like, if you think about it, you're going to recoup so much of that money in overseas broadcasting rights, tickets, jersey sales. Like, it's basically a license to print money if you sign Shohei. So, look, you're going to recoup most of that, and he makes your baseball team better. So it's a win-win situation.
If not the Dodgers, I mean, I don't know if there's too many teams that would be willing to fork over $600 million for one guy. That's a lot.
Not really. Yeah, it's more.
We're talking payroll, 3 or 4 teams, right? Like, so it'd be like Red Sox, Yankees.
Well, the Red Sox have tightened up their budget.
Have they
Yankees, really? Yeah, Yankees could afford to do it. The Mets could afford to do it. The Giants could afford to do it. The Dodgers. What about
someone left field like the Blue Jays or something?
The Blue Jays, they run a pretty tight payroll.
Yeah.
The Cubs could afford to do it.
I remember a while ago, Blue Jays go spending up big like 10 years ago, and it didn't really work out for them, did they? So,
yeah, sort of. Like, they went a bit of a spree. Yeah. More trading though, the Blue Jays. So,
what about the crazy notion? What about the A's next year if they move to Las Vegas and have all this fucking money all?
Well, they're not moving to Vegas next year. It's like there's no stadium there. They still got to all go through.
Okay.
Yeah, they're in Oakland for 3 more years.
3 more years. Okay.
Yeah.
Someone else is going to come in and buy that team before they move to Las Vegas and keep them in Oakland, I think, by the sounds of it.
You'd hope so. They're trying.
The way it's playing out, they're going to get rid of the current owner is going to be shamed into selling the team, and then someone else is going to come in.
That's what the fans want, but we'll wait and see. I can't see it happening. I was wrong. The Blue Jays have the 7th highest payroll.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought they were a pretty big fucking team up there in Canada land.
Well, for the 26-man payroll this year, they're paying $180 million. So Shohei himself would be a third of that payroll.
Yeah, but they've done it. Well, the reason I mention the Blue Jays is because I remember they've done it before. They've gone on spending sprees before. They have a lot of money. They're like the big fish in a little pond up in Canada, aren't they? Like, they're the biggest Canadian team, are they not?
Well, they're the only Canadian team. So
right.
That helps.
So they have all of that pool that they can draw on. So just fill me in here. So if they're the 7th, who are the other 6? So Red Sox, Yankees, Dodgers.
No. Surprisingly, no Red Sox. So Mets are the highest by far.
Really?
I thought they were Mets are the highest by far. $345 million payroll.
Mets are the highest by far.
Yeah, because Steve Cohen bought them.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
I just always think of the Mets. I guess it's a '90s mentality. I always think of the Mets as the poor Yankees brother. Like the poor man's Yankees.
And that's what Cohen was trying to change. So he's bought in these like big names and whatnot. And they're sucking this year, so it's not really working.
Right.
Yankees are second with $279 million. Padres are third. San Diego.
Padres. I never would have picked that ever.
Then you got Phillies, and then you got the LA Angels, who are 5th.
Really? Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they're actually ahead of Dodgers in spending this year because Dodgers were trying to get under the luxury tax threshold, so they reduced their spending this year to be able to go nuts next year.
Where are the A's on the list?
Dead last, mate. So the highest payroll is $345 million.
Fucking love it. Yep.
$345 million. The Oakland A's, dead last, $60 million.
60 fucking million. Look at that.
Yeah.
Nice, Gary. That makes me proud.
Nice, Gary.
Well,
because they're not coming dead last, so...
They are coming dead last.
Oh, well, that's not good. Yeah.
Fun fact, though, the team with the 29th highest payroll, so second last, is actually leading, has the best record in the American League. Yeah. The Baltimore Orioles at only $69 million spent. Wow. And second best record is Tampa Bay, and they're the 27th highest spending team.
So that just shows like sometimes
they're moneyballing.
Well, yeah, but sometimes you put a team together and usually it's only these teams only succeed for like a year or two and then they fade out and again because someone will come in and buy players and they'll move on.
Not at all. No. So what the Orioles did is they sucked for the last 6 years.
Yeah.
And they've got all the best draft picks for the last 6 years that are now coming through.
Right.
So all these young guys, they're getting paid fuck all, and they're absolutely kicking ass.
Well, there you go. They're going to be good for a year or two, and then the young guys are going to get poached by the bigger teams, and then they're going to suck again.
Sell them off, yep.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Tampa Bay does.
This is what happens.
Bay does it a bit different. Yeah,
teams are good for a year or two, and then you get 1 or 2 years. If you're a poor team, you get 1 or 2 chances every 10 or 20 years to win something, and that's it. Like you get if you just get into that magical miracle kind of situation. This is every sport. This is not just baseball.
Yeah,
this is every sport, right? Every professional sport. If you're a team that's a perennial struggler, you will get 1 or 2 chances every fucking generation or so where for whatever reason it just works in your favor. Like you've got the best crop of young players because you've sucked for 10 years and you've been broke and you've just bought cheap and it just works and it's a great team and it's going to be a great team for like a little tiny fraction of time. That's your opportunity and you have to try and go as hard as you possibly can and try and win as much as you possibly can. Because in 2 or 3 years from now, that team is going to be fucking decimated because all the rich teams are going to come in and go, okay, we'll take him, 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 we'll take him. And then you have to start all over again.
Well, that's the thing. All these teams are rich. It's just owners would rather sit on their money and whatnot. Like,
they're rich. They're all rich, but comparatively to each other, they're not all rich.
Well, it's also the franchises. Like the Yankees are never going to be crying poor. And I think I talked about it. I don't know, mentioned it. Like I was absolutely shocked when they got the advertising patches on their jersey. Yeah. I'm like, what do the Yankees need advertising money for? Are they going to throw it on the pile of money, Scrooge McDuck style? Like
swim in it, yeah.
They swim in it. They're already the richest franchise in fucking professional baseball. Why do they need to sell advertising on their jersey? Because it's not a mandatory thing. It's optional.
No, yeah. Why not? Because why not be a little richer, I guess.
But yeah, exactly. Yeah. But like this is a team that won't allow players to put their name on the back of jerseys because they're like, oh no, it's too sacred. Yeah. But now they've got a big fucking like APT patch on their front sleeve.
Nice, Gary!
I almost love that level of capitalism. It's so perverse. It's like, no, you can't promote yourself, but you will promote us, whether you like it or not. You know?
Yeah.
Love it.
Exactly. I forgot what we were talking about.
Well, can I change the topic a little bit? Just a quick little side mention before we get to the Hot Stove Hero.
Yeah.
I just want to throw this up, little quick little mention. Big sport weekend here in Australia, big sport weekend in Sydney, especially. So,
Women's World Cup.
Women's World Cup is happening. Australia, didn't they get the girls got done the other day by
dusted
Nigeria?
By Nigeria, yeah.
The Nigerians, the Africans, Greeno.
They were paying like $6, something ridiculous.
Yeah,
I guess Australia's going to win that one, but it sounds like we had all the shots on goal, like we had all the possession, and somehow we lost 3-2.
That happens in soccer though. That happens in football, man. Like you can have 30 shots on goal and not get one of them. And that's the thing in football that's so crazy. If their goalkeeper has the game of their life, you won't win.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what you do, you won't win. And all they need is one chance to get one goal and they'll beat you. You know, that's the crazy part about football, which is so addictive. You know, you're on the edge of your seat the whole time because it can take a fraction of a second in a 90-minute game and it's all over.
Yeah.
Even though you dominate, you lose. It's one of those crazy games. So, yeah, the girls are suffering at the moment, but I think they'll win the last game and then they'll still be in the hunt. So, won't they? I think they'll finish second in their group. Is that right?
I think so, yeah. Because I think it depends on other results. It become a group, I think those results yesterday kind of threw the whole group into chaos. So, we'll wait and see.
So that's happening. You've got the V8 Supercars, which is our native kind of touring car championship, which is pretty huge in this country. Mm-hmm. They're racing night races around Sydney tomorrow night, so I'm going to be tuning into that. That's going to be fucking gold, Greeno. That's really good stuff. The supercars around the Sydney streets. Got to love it. Around the Sydney Olympic precinct, I think it is.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, so under lights, I'm looking forward to that. That'll be really good. You've got the Ashes going on at the moment, obviously, over in England. You've got the regular kind of AFL, NRL broadcasting. And then you've got the rugby union, Greeno. The Wallabies are playing the All Blacks. Apparently 87,000 tickets sold in Melbourne, I think.
There you go.
Yeah, 87,000 at
no
the
one
MCG.
even likes rugby.
Nah, rugby for us here in Australia, it's kind of, rugby for us is generally like, this is the sport that they play at the private schools for us, like as boys. So Greeno and myself, we grew up at schools like public schools. We were in the cheap schools, basically. And in the cheap schools, we play rugby league, you know, 'cause that's like the blue collar kind of form of rugby. And in the private schools where you get boarding and your parents are millionaires, you play rugby union. That's the rich boy kind of version of rugby. I don't know if that's necessarily true now, but that was definitely true when we were growing up. Because now I think half the team are fucking Pacific Islanders anyway. So I'm not sure that they even go to private schools here in Australia. But that's generally like when we were growing up, all of the players for the Australian rugby union team came from private schools, you know. So the Bledisloe Cup is on. The Bledisloe Cup is Australia versus New Zealand. Now, Australia has not won the Bledisloe Cup since 2003. This is a tournament against one other country, mind you.
Nice, Gary!
All we have to do is beat one country to win this fucking thing. We have not won it in 20 fucking years, Greeno.
Well, it's stupid because they only play 2 games, don't they?
2 games. So you have to win both games to win the cup.
Yeah.
That's the thing, right? So if you win 1 and 1, then the series is drawn. Therefore, the holders retain it. So we have to, and it's one game. I kind of like it. It's 1 game at home and 1 game away. It's, you know, there's no decider here. You have to win on your own turf and their turf.
So we've won 1 game plenty.
Yeah,
but the problem is we never win the 2.
We can't beat them there. We can't beat them there. That's the thing. I don't think we've beaten them there for a long time. And if we do beat them there, then they come out here and kick our ass. Randomly.
Kick our ass and
So
that's how it works.
Yeah, so we haven't won this fucking tournament, this 2-game tournament in 20 years. Before we lost 20 years in a row, we had won it 5 years in a row. And we're talking about like the golden era of the Wallabies, like your John Eales and your Gregans, Greeno, Matt Burke, all those kind of people. You know, those names that you've...
Those names I know. Ask me to name one current rugby player.
Exactly.
No chance.
That's what happens when you lose 20 years in a row.
20 years.
People stop paying attention. Now, see, this is Eddie Jones. He's the current Wallabies coach. Now, I think...
Wasn't he the Wallabies coach when we last won in 2003?
Yes, I was about to say. I'm pretty sure he was the Wallabies coach last time we won in around 2003, 2002-ish. He was the Wallabies coach for about 4 years. Then he got sacked. Then he got to a World Cup final with us, and then he got sacked afterwards. He went and coached, I think, Japan, and then recently he coached England, okay? And now he's come back. He's been rehired as the Wallabies
2001
coach.
to 2005 as Australian coach. So it was,
Thank you. My sports trivia is pretty good. So he was the Wallabies coach for about 4 years. The last time we won the Bledisloe Cup was under his reign. Okay, now 20 years later, he's back. All right, we've rehired him again, and we're gonna go another stint with Eddie. Now, I want to show this to you because this is not necessarily the new Eddie Jones because he was kind of always like this way. But you know when you can tell in someone's career that they've reached an age where they don't give a fuck anymore.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No fucks given.
No fucks given. Eddie is now at that point because he's coached Australia, he's coached Japan, he's coached England, he's coached clubs. Like he's done all the coaching, and now he's found his way back to Australia again. And I think he's now in this stage of his career where he does not give a fuck anymore. He's like, whatever. I'm just going to do whatever I can, and then we'll see where we're at. So this is a New Zealand press group that's asking him. Now, if you're from America, you're wondering why the fuck do you care about New Zealand? New Zealand is like the undisputed best country in the world at rugby union. It's crazy, I know. There's only like 4 million of them, but they are such a rugby mad country.
And it looks like 2001 was the last time we won the Bledisloe.
So 22 years ago.
Yeah, because I'm like, we lost. We split it 1-1. Oh, I think because we held it in 2001. We won 2 games.
It 2 years
then
later.
We split it in 02, split it in 03. Oh no, lost it in 03.
Right. So the last time we had it
was 02. Last time we definitely won it was 01.
Okay, so the last time it has not been in our possession since 2002. So that's 21
We haven't won 2 games
years
against
ago.
New Zealand since 2001
For 21 years. Okay, we have not won 2 games in a row against New Zealand for 21 years.
Good news though. We fucking pumped Namibia.
Well, that's not good news.
100,
I feel sorry for the Namibians, Greeno. It's not fair.
142
That's unfair
nil.
on the Namibians.
Thank you very much.
Now,
Take that,
Namibia is less than a poor man's South Africa, okay?
Well, how about Romania then? We fucking pumped Romania 90 to 8.
Oh, that's good. Okay, some big wins there, Greeno.
Big wins, sorry.
If only we could win 2 games in a row against New Zealand, a tiny little country with 4 million people, which just so happens to be mad rugby fans. Now, I do a bit of sim racing with a couple of New Zealanders, one of which was like a quite accomplished rugby player in his younger years. And I said, look, I don't understand how we can't beat you guys at rugby union for the last 20 years. And he said, no, you don't understand. He's like, if you're a 10-year-old and you're good at rugby, you're already identified like professionally by a fucking club here. They're crazy for it. Like, it's all everyone does here. It's like, he's like, yeah, there's only 4 million of us, whatever. But he's like, the whole sports system is built around rugby union.
Yeah,
like, it's a thing, you know. And I said, yeah, here it's only kind of like what they do in private schools. Like, it's not here. It's not even the biggest sport here. You know what I mean? It's
about the 15th biggest sport here.
Yeah, you've got AFL is probably the biggest sport, I think, around the country.
Cricket probably the biggest.
Well, cricket I think is behind AFL in terms of like just participation and crowds and everything.
Yeah.
So AFL, cricket, rugby league is kind of soccer. Netball is probably fucking bigger than rugby union, and then rugby union's probably like
basketball. Maybe
basketball's pretty big, yeah. Juniors wise, anyway, basketball is big. Swimming is very fucking big.
Too big.
Yeah. So rugby union's probably like 7th or 8th on the list, whereas in New Zealand, that's it. It's rugby union.
Well, to put it into context, in the area I live, there are 24 footy fields. All right.
Yeah.
I've never seen a game of rugby played on any of them. It's all footy.
I remember back in the like early 2000s, I was very keen on like watching the Waratahs and stuff. Went to a couple of Waratahs games.
It's back when it was kind of entertaining to watch rugby union. Yeah. Now, not so much.
Well, because we've been sucking for 20 years.
I mean, sucking. It's kind of a fucking boring game. I think I gave it a crack during one of the lockdowns, I think. I was like, I'm going to sit down and watch a fucking Australian rugby game one Saturday night. I'm going to put the boys on, I'm going to cheer on the Wallabies. And it lasted about 20 minutes. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, this is a bit of a punish.
I've always...
Was it always this boring? And I messaged my dad, who used to play rugby when he was growing up. I'm like, is Wallaby, I know the Wallabies are shit, but like, has rugby always been this bad? He's like, nah, like, it's pretty bad.
No, it's bad. I've said for the longest time, you'll remember me saying this, like a shitty game of rugby league is better than a shitty game of rugby union, but a good game of rugby union is better than a good game of rugby league. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But a shitty game of rugby league is better than like an average
games
of rugby union. Now, a really good game of rugby union is really good. Like, it drags you in and you're like, oh, this is a grind. It's a war of attrition and it's so hard to score. And But if it's a shit game of rugby, it's fucking shit. It's worse. It's worse than the worst game of rugby league you've ever seen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Nice, Gary.
So, but maybe Eddie coming back can, breathe a little life into this, Greeno. Maybe this is what we've been waiting for. So Eddie was asked, like, coming back, are you more passionate about this now than coaching other teams? And he went on this fucking rant. Let's have a look.
Is it different now?
Does it feel different now?
The All Blacks when you're the Wallabies coach. That's been a long time.
It is, mate. Because it's your own country, It means a lot more. Without devaluing coaching England, I enjoyed coaching England. I love them. Good bunch of players, but imagine tomorrow or Saturday night, 85,000 people, the biggest rugby crowd since 2007. and they've come to watch, two teams that have got good respect for each other, but at the same time they dislike each other. And there's nothing better than winning against New Zealand because you feel the country sinking, right? It's not just rugby sinks, the country sinks.
The country sinks.
The whole economy goes down. The Prime Minister's there with his fingers crossed hoping the All Blacks win because he knows the economy's going to drop if they lose. And so we can have that effect. And at the same time, then the Australia kids want to play rugby again because at the moment too many of them want to play AFL. I was going past the school the other day and they were playing AFL in basketball, right? So we want kids to play rugby because it's the greatest game of all. So we've got a bit of a job here to do. Maybe put the New Zealand Prime Minister on call that the economy's going to suffer and at the same time raise our stakes here.
Now, I want to give a nice Gary to that fucking journalist, by the way. Yeah, because that was a good line. That got a laugh out. It's really hard to get a laugh out of Eddie. And, maybe we can put the Prime Minister on call because the economy is going to suffer. And the Kiwi journalist said, it's already pretty bad, mate. Nice, Gary. Double nice, Gary. But, I love it. This is what rugby needs, Greeno. You know what I mean? Like, if you like or dislike Eddie Jones, then that's up to you. I don't really particularly like or dislike him either way. I couldn't care less.
Because no one gives a fuck about rugby.
That's right. I'm indifferent. I'm indifferent to it.
That's what I said. That's pretty funny from Eddie. I didn't realise Eddie was back. There we go. I learned something today.
If the Wallabies win this first Bledisloe Cup game, I'm going to be on the fucking bandwagon like every other Australian sports fan.
You better believe it. Yeah, we've been the Kiwis. Happy days.
We'll be going out buying Wallabies jerseys on Monday, Greeno. Let's go. We're fucking winning the Bledisloe. Let's go.
Dude, I might actually learn a player's name.
Yeah, just one.
Just one. Because the last one I've got in my head is like George Gregan. And that guy retired in 2005, I think.
Yeah, George Gregan, John Eales and Matt Burke. That's it. That's all I got.
Yeah.
That's all I got. David Pocock was a reasonably recent one, I think, Greeno.
I guess so. I don't know, maybe.
He was a captain a while ago.
Wasn't he running for some kind of parliamentary thing
Senate
recently?
or something? Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah. But I'd already tuned out by the time he got to that stage,
The only ones I seem to remember is when they used to pop
Curtly
up.
Beale was one, Greeno.
Curtly Beale. Yeah, it's whenever they pop up, it's like, league's going to poach rugby union. And they fucking pump those stories out.
I remember Quade Cooper was
Mac
he was going to be Parramatta Eels, wasn't he? Quade Cooper?
Yeah, something like that. And then they realise, can't play footy.
Can't play.
Probably not a good idea.
Yeah. So good luck to the Wallabies. I mean, come on, man. It's been 22 fucking years or something. Let's bring the fucking cup home already.
But didn't we struggle to beat all the teams we played in the lead up to New Zealand? So I don't like our chances.
Well, Eddie's only been in charge for 2 games, I think.
Yeah, and we've struggled in both of them.
Yeah.
Haven't we lost both?
Yeah. And he's also, I did a little bit of research this morning. He's brought in, I think, 2 rookie halves for this game. So
that's a bold strategy.
Never really works out well.
Here we go. So we lost to Argentina and we got pumped by South Africa.
Yeah, that's right. And the All Blacks pumped South Africa.
Yeah, who pumped us.
So
43-12. So we're actually... let's not get our hopes up here. We're going to get fucking hammered. If we stay within 40 of the All Blacks, we'll have done well.
Well, I'm one of these crazy people who thinks that we're better when everyone thinks we're going to lose.
We've been thinking that for 20 years, though.
Yeah, no, just generally in sports. Australians are better at sports when they're not the favourites, generally speaking, And against New Zealand, we should never be the favourites. So we should have won, sometime in the last 20 years. Can you, if you've got the stats there, can you see how many series have we won at least one game in the Bledisloe Cup and not the other?
Oh, I didn't have the Bledisloe Cup. I had Eddie Jones's career. Let's have a look.
Okay.
Bledisloe.
I'm just curious, how many times have we been one game away from winning it in the last 22 years and we've never done it?
Oh, probably a fair few. Here we go, Bledisloe Cup.
Maybe not as many as we think, I reckon. I reckon maybe only like 3 or 4, and they've probably won both games.
All right, we'll go from back. Okay.
2002.
We lost 2-0, we lost 3-0, we lost 2-1, we drew 1-1. I play 3 sometimes. We lost 3-0, we lost 2-1, we lost 3-0, we drew 1-1, we lost 2-0, 3-0, 2-0. We fucking barely win 1, eh?
Yeah, that's what I thought.
We've won one.
I told
two,
you. I think it's not. I don't think we've been as close as we think we have been. I think we've been
won
dominating.
We've won 5 total games in the last 13 years.
Oh, that's nasty.
But I stopped looking at 2010.
Best you
it doesn't get much better.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
And now we're going back to Coach Eddie, who, 2002 got sacked in 2005.
Yeah, we held it from 98 to 2002 and then lost in 2003 and haven't seen it since.
Yeah, we won 5 years in a row and that was it. That was the last time that we've had it.
So they seem to rotate. So they go to, they just mix it up. I guess it just depends on the schedule.
Yeah.
Some years they play 2, some years they play 3. Like, ironically, during fucking COVID year, they played 3. Like, all right, makes no sense. The year before, they played 2, 3, 2, 3, 3, 3. Oh, it's like, okay, so looks like it's 3 straight years of 3 games. Oh, this year they played 4. I don't know what's going on.
Really?
Schedule's over the shop. Like, 4's even dumber than 2. Like, play 3 and get done with it.
Yeah.
At least someone won the thing.
Just make it 3 every year and be done with it. Yeah.
Yeah, be done with it. It's not that hard.
Yeah. Well, we're not going to win it anyway, so what's the fucking difference?
Oh, that's it. Oh, there you go. Fucking, sorry, I just realised Carlton came back and beat the Pies.
Really?
Yeah, pumped them. 93-76.
Wow, that's a fucking huge result. For
Massive
Carlton.
upset.
Well, Carlton's got like half of their fucking team out as well through injury.
Yeah.
So there you go. Maybe the Wallabies can win the fucking Bledisloe.
Anything can happen.
Nice, Gary.
Yeah. What's the white man can't jump line? Sun shines on a dog's ass
shines
someday.
on a dog's ass some days.
Anyone can win the lottery, Damo.
Anyone can win the lottery. Just because you hit 2 passes and 1 dunk doesn't mean you can play. Hell, you can put a cat in an oven and that don't make it a biscuit.
Make it a biscuit.
Nice, Gary.
Very good. All right, let's end it there. We can't get much better than white man can't jump references to end the show.
Done. All right. Good and Got Life. Tune in next week. Forgotten Vegetable of the Week. Greeno. We don't do any plugs anymore, so I guess that's it. Let's wrap it up.
See you guys next week.
Bye-bye.
We'll always be bosom buddies, friends, sisters, and pals. We'll always be bosom buddies. If life should reject you, there's me to protect you.
If I say that your tongue is vicious,
if I call you uncouth,
it's simply that.
Who else but a bosom buddy will sit down and tell you the truth?